Hello everybody. Today I'd like to discuss a video by Jacqueline Glenn titled Why I'm an Atheist. The main point that she makes in this video is perhaps an argument you've heard before. Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. She starts off this argument by pointing out that the lack of critical thinkers in our culture, claiming that religion indoctrinates us with beliefs that we just take at face value and forbids any skepticism. In this video, Jacqueline brings up a number of questions you might be having about philosophy or about our origins, etc. These are all good questions, she tells us, but sometimes we just don't know the answers. According to her, it's not okay for your answer to be God. And why not? Because the only possible way to determine these answers is through science. But what she doesn't seem to realize is that in order to reason through these questions critically, God must exist. You cannot prove anything if there is no God. According to Jacqueline's worldview, we live in a random universe. There are no absolutes, no standards. Everything is conventional, including the laws of logic and the laws of morality. When discussing morality, Jacqueline clearly states that her morality comes from people around her and her personal feelings. Her morality is not objective and might very well change the next morning if she feels like it. This applies to the laws of logic as well. If there is no creator, if there is no order to the universe, who's to say that the laws of logic won't change suddenly tomorrow? This is a serious problem with Jacqueline's arguments. Science is impossible without order and uniformity. There must be some sort of absolute standard in order for there to be science and evidence and critical thinking. You can't prove anything if there isn't a God who created a world that reflects his consistent, unchanging nature. But as Dr. Greg Bahnsen put it during a debate over this very topic, this argument doesn't say that atheists don't prove things or that they don't use the laws of logic, science, or the laws of morality. In fact, they do. The argument is that their worldview cannot account for what they're doing, end quote. Atheists aren't truly atheists. God reveals himself to them through natural revelation, including the laws of logic. It is evident that they know God, yet refuse to acknowledge him because they use the laws of logic, yet cling to a worldview that is inconsistent with what they're doing. Jacqueline Glenn has given her reasons for why she is an atheist. But by doing so, she's proving the very fact that she is not an atheist after all, only pretending to be. We can see this type of behavior described in Romans 1:20-22. For God's invisible attributes, namely his eternal power and divine nature, have been clearly perceived ever since the creation of the world and the things that have been made. So they are without excuse, for although they knew God, they did not honor him as God or give thanks to him, but they became futile in their thinking, and their foolish hearts were darkened. Claiming to be wise, they became fools. This passage continues on about how God will give these people up to dishonorable passions, particularly homosexuality, which is one of the main reasons Jacqueline gives for becoming an atheist, because her best friend was gay. In many ways, Jacqueline exemplifies the description we find in Romans 1. She claims to be wise, bringing up what she's learned from medical school, as well as well-known atheists such as Richard Dawkins. But because she does not honor God as God, her thinking has become foolish and futile. Her worldview cannot account for critical thinking. So in light of all this, here's my encouragement to you. Jacqueline admits that if God exists, and there is the creator of all things, he created us with a brain. Jacqueline admonishes us to use the brains we've been given, and I agree wholeheartedly with this point. But to do so, we have to recognize that you can only think critically because God exists. Without God, there is no such thing as reason. And lastly, if you're wondering where to start, if you're wondering how to be a critical thinker, I'd refer you back to another one of Jacqueline's hot tips. Read your Bibles. The Bible is one of the main places God reveals his unchanging nature to us. So that's all I have for you today. Hopefully that gives you a better understanding of Jacqueline's arguments from a Christian perspective. Have a good day.